I just quit my job with no backup plan. And when I say no backup plan, I really mean it. No savings, nothing else lined up, no other form of income. I know this probably wasn't the wisest decision I've ever made, but believe it or not, it actually wasn't made purely on impulse. So since you've clicked on the video, I think it's only fair that I share the background behind why it is I left in the first place. So thinking back to July of 2024, I'd just been discharged from a week-long stay at the hospital, reason for which I won't go into too much detail about for now, potentially in a future video, but the week had started with a doctor telling me I might die, which looking back may have just been his way of instilling a sense of urgency towards getting help. But anyway, while in the hospital, I decided that I wasn't going to go through everything I was going through, in fighting for my life, to go back to a job that I had at the time that I hated, which was at McDonald's. I'd taken a job initially, part-time, as the hours worked nicely around the classes I had at university. However, as the classic tale goes, I dropped out of university and ended up working there for much longer than I originally anticipated. I decided it was time to get my life in order and begin an actual career. While I was in the hospital, I found that suddenly I had a lot of spare time on my hands. So I decided to brush up my CV, I created my own LinkedIn account, and through the rest of the week, I sent out countless applications, even to jobs I believed I had no chance of getting. Something I'd never done before. I mean, typically I'm always someone to discount myself. However, this was the start of me attempting to make others tell me no, as opposed to assuming the answer's no myself. Applied to a large variety of roles, anything that sounded like it could lead to a career. Most importantly, involved working in an office, because for some reason at the time, that's what seemed like the hallmark of a real job to me. You worked in an office at a computer, that was a real career, so to speak. Fast forward a week after I leave the hospital, and now I've been invited to 2 interviews. One was for an entry-level estate agent, the other was for a trainee accounts assistant. I had 3 stages of interviews for the estate agency position and only 1 interview for the accountancy position. That's when I got a message on LinkedIn from a recruitment company. They wanted me to speak to them about a vacancy they had for an entry-level recruitment role at their firm. So they called me and it sounded pretty interesting. I let them know that I was in 2 late-stage processes already that I was expecting to hear back from. So they convinced me to come and speak to them anyway the next morning. So that's exactly what I did. I made my way to their office and I was met at the door by a gent in a waistcoat. He welcomed me into a waiting area. I mean, the building was one of the nicest I've ever been to. Before I knew it, I was welcomed straight into the main office floor, and immediately I'm greeted by a golden retriever who comes running towards me, comes to check me out, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, the office was amazing. They had a dog in the office. I look over to my right, people were playing darts while they were on the phone, others kicking a football to and from each other or playing table tennis, all while doing their jobs. It was like something out of a film. I mean, I'd only ever worked minimum wage jobs with, a teenage manager who does everything by the book because it's the most important job in the world to him. You can't sneeze without his sign off on the matter. It's that serious. But anyway, I was directed to a small glass-walled side room where I was interviewed by several members of the team, 2 at a time. They didn't really seem interested in my experience or what I'd worked with in the past. They were more interested in my motivations. So what gets me out of bed in the morning, what I hope to achieve, and I thought the interview went very well. I went home pretty much infatuated with the place. It sounded fantastic. So the office was about a 20-minute walk from my house. Before I even got back home, I had a phone call from a lady I'd interviewed with for the accounts position just a couple of days before. She offered me the job, and I told her I'd need a couple of days to think about it. A couple of other things in the works, and I wanted to be able to properly weigh up my options. So that was on a Wednesday, and she asked if I could hopefully have my answer to her by Friday, because of course if I'm not going ahead with things, then she needs to get a start on going for her second choice. So shortly after I got home, I called the recruitment company I'd just interviewed with. I let them know that I'd just been made an offer, that they'd need to move quickly if they wanted to progress with myself, because of course I can't turn down a solid job offer for a potential interview stage elsewhere. They were quite understanding. They were grateful, if anything, that I let them know this. And they asked me, that if we offered you this job, would you take it and drop out of the other 2 processes? To which I said, yeah, I think I probably would. They said to leave it with that. So 30 minutes later, I get another call from them asking if I could interview again that day or the following morning. So I opted for the following morning because I thought, it's a good idea to go at it with a fresh mind and get some rest and think properly about what I want to say, what points I want to get across, and what they might ask me in a follow-up interview. So I have the second interview at home, and shortly after that they offered me the job, so I gladly accept. Called the accounting position, turned it down, thanked them very much for their offer. Tried to call the estate agents, I couldn't get through. So I took that as a sign that after 3 interview stages, that was their way of letting me know I didn't get the job. I signed the contract with the new job at the recruitment firm, and I stayed there for about a year and a half. And I mean, it was fantastic. They're a great bunch of people. I got to work with some of the largest financial institutions in the world, recruiting for some very niche and specialist roles. However, the hours began to weigh on me a bit. I mean, it was very long hours, early mornings, late evenings, which in fairness, they did warn me about in my interview. So after about a year and a half at this company, I decided, I'm not spending enough time at home. I'm living to work at this point. I'm waking up in the morning very early to go to work, not getting home till it's about time to go to bed, just to rinse and repeat the next day. It's a strain on obviously the relationship with my partner, on general fatigue constantly and things of that nature. Although it was a good job, it wasn't for me. So started applying elsewhere, got a job with another recruiting firm actually, but these were a large firm. In the firm I just worked for were very small, and these new guys were a big corporate firm. So I joined, and immediately I just didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So that was my last company. So I had a week off after my 3rd week there. So week 4 I had off because I had it booked off from my last job, my partner's birthday. And I knew when I went on that holiday I wasn't going to come back. I went in the Monday after the holiday at the normal time, and I spoke to my new manager and I said, look, this just is not for me. It's just not my style of working. It's very corporate. I think things are very slow to move here. It's just not for myself. And he said, I thought this was a conversation you were going to have with me, getting on very well, you're hitting your targets and things, but I can tell you're just not enjoying the way we do things here. So I had to finish the week out, but as of that day, I left that day with no plan. I had nothing else lined up, which he couldn't quite believe. He couldn't believe that I'd left with nothing lined up. I think he still believes that I must have had something else in the background, but genuinely I did not. Anyway, I applied for a job during my lunch break that day, and they invited me for an interview after work the very same day. So they offered me the job on the spot. I mean, it's something completely different, unrelated to what I've done in the past. But for now, it will do. It's part-time, and I specifically went for something part-time so I can build my own business with the extra free time. So I mean, what that would be, I'm not sure yet. But I left that job with nothing lined up, and luckily secured something that will just cover the bills for the time being. So what next? I mean, I'm not entirely sure, if I'm honest. I mean, I want to build a business. More to come in future videos about that. But for now, I'm going to focus some of my time and effort into YouTube. I want to build this channel out a little bit and keep you guys with me during my journey. I'm sure it's always interesting to see how people who make videos about quitting their jobs on the spot actually end up, and if it works. I know a lot of people think about doing it all the time, but very rarely go through with it. I want to get my fitness back into a better shape. I know a lot of the greats in any field say that exercise is a pillar of their day. So that's something I want to have a bit more time to do. Of course, when you're waking up very early in the morning and not coming home until it's time to sleep, it leaves very little time or energy for the gym or for a run. So I want to incorporate that back into my life and start focusing on that while strengthening the bonds I have with friends and family. So keep your eyes peeled on this channel. I'm going to be trying a number of business avenues around my newly found part-time job, as well as uploading to this channel pretty regularly. So for now, if you want to stick with this journey of mine, please do subscribe, share the video with your friends who you think might be interested or are thinking of doing the same thing. And any suggestions for future videos or any content, please do leave them in the comments. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the future.